Everywhere I look, I see people divided on what's the best deck. Some say MEWTWO, others say PIKACHU. Well, today we are going to put them decks to the test and see which one comes out on top. Let's dive into it. So we are going to be putting these decks head to head in a bunch of different categories to determine which is the superior deck. Not only just for beating each other, but what is the best deck overall playing into the current meta. First up, we are going to look at consistency. Which deck can get to full strength the most often? Let's take a look at MEWTWO first. To be at its devastating best, it needs to see 1 to 2 copies of MEWTWO plus Gardevoir on the bench to feed it energy. This is going to take at least 3 turns to get set up before you can start one-shotting everyone. Once MEWTWO gets to that point of the match, there's really no deck outside some coin flip matchups that can beat it from here. This deck is really strong in most matchups. Even if you start MEWTWO without seeing the Gardevoir, you can't always draw that specific 4-card combo every game. However, you'll start to see it lose to some decks which can build tempo a lot faster if you don't get it online by turn 3. Which brings me to PIKACHU. This deck is a tempo machine. Where it lacks in health and damage, it definitely makes up for with really great consistency. To be at full strength, you want to have a PIKACHU and 3 bench Pokemon by turn 2, which happens more often than not. Most lists are playing 7 to 8 basic Pokemon with 2 Pokeballs, so you can flood the bench quite fast and start dealing 90 damage before most decks are able to get started. In my opinion, this one is a no-brainer. PIKACHU is hands down the more consistent deck here. Winner, PIKACHU. But wait, don't get too comfortable. Next, we're going to compare raw power. I think this one goes without saying. PIKACHU is a sports car and MEWTWO is a Mack truck. If MEWTWO draws the perfect hand, there's not much any deck can do. It truly is the strongest force in the current game. MEWTWO, being the tankiest basic Pokemon in the game, usually will survive multiple attacks while holding the power to kill almost any Pokemon in one shot. On the other side, we have PIKACHU, which has the least amount of health out of all the EX Pokemon. If you don't pick your battles carefully, MEWTWO will turn you into rabbit stew. PIKACHU, being one of the only relevant EX Pokemon to not be able to deal 100 plus damage in one hit, makes it one of the weakest attackers on the roster. With that being said, it's also the strongest 2 energy ability that doesn't require a coin flip. But even so, if we are looking at both Pokemon at full power, this one ends up looking quite embarrassing for PIKACHU. Winner, MEWTWO. Well, that's all well and good, but how do they stack up against the other popular decks? Recent tournament results show increasing popularity in people picking up their PIKACHU cards to play against the ever-popular MEWTWO players, and the results might surprise you. All 3 events showed MEWTWO being the most popular deck, and his first event was still won by a PIKACHU player. The second event, however, was a landslide turnout. 1,700 joined in this tournament, and half of the decks that remained in the top 8 were MEWTWO. The first and second place players both piloted the same MEWTWO deck. And the third event is where things get interesting. Top cut in this event boiled down to just 3 decks. And the winner, surprising everyone, ended up being Charizard. As PIKACHU gets more popular in these events, we see people steering away from decks that are only good going into MEWTWO, and also avoiding decks that play bad into PIKACHU. We are starting to see a shift in the meta again. I think Charizard has officially cemented itself in the 3rd place spot for best deck. It becomes especially dangerous as it has a favorable matchup into MEWTWO and can play an Arcanine line to counter the PIKACHU matchup. In my opinion, the future looks brighter for PIKACHU players for the upcoming tournaments. Based on the recent results, PIKACHU definitely is better against the meta we are seeing currently, which explains the surge in popularity. Winner, PIKACHU.